All right, number 27. Soccer team is 21 players. Suppose each player shakes hands with each other. How many handshakes will there be? Well, if I have one member on each team, so I have two teams of one member, I have one handshake, right? So I'm going to make a little table here. So this is team members, the number of team members, and handshakes. So if I have one team member in each team, I get one handshake. If I have two team members on each team, I get 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm starting to see a connection here. Just let's see if we have one more here. If we add one more, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, this just looks like the number of handshakes is n squared. So for 21 players, I do 21 squared, and 21 squared is 441. I'm not sure if I beat you on that one. It's pretty close. All right. So it's 441 handshakes. All right. I just wrote an equation for it. H is equal to n squared, and that's how I did that. And write an equation for the number of handshakes that will be equivalent to the equation. Well, h equals n times n, because n times n is n squared. Moving on. 28. Write an expression that, okay, so 28 is really straightforward. When you want an equivalent expression and you have a factored form quadratic, it just wants you to multiply it out. It wants you to FOIL, or rainbows and smiley faces, because when you see rainbows, you smile. So x squared, x times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 5 is 10. Combine similar terms, so I get x squared plus 7x plus 10. Explain two methods for checking equivalence. That's this thing where you have x2, x5, so that this rectangle would be x squared, this would be 5x, 2x, and 10. And so you add these together. So that's what they're talking about. For number 29, this is a great question. This is going back to frogs, fleas, and painted cubes and finding the y-intercept, the x-intercept, minimum, and line of symmetry. In this case, it will be a minimum, not a maximum. So we have our factor form equation here. I'll write it right here. X plus 2 times x plus 5. And that's equal to 0. We're going to need that for our x-intercepts. Our expanded form equation, we're going to set that equal to 0, and this will give us the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is when x is equal to 0. So if x is equal to 0, we'd have 0 squared plus 7 times 0 plus 10. So therefore, I'm going to keep this as y. Therefore, y would be equal to 10. So my y-intercept is 10. For my x-intercepts, I'm going to have to use my factored form equation. I'm going to set both linear terms, because x plus 2 is a linear term, x plus 5 is a linear term. I'm going to set them both equal to 0. What's the opposite of adding 2 to x? Well, subtracting 2, so I'll subtract 2 from both sides, so I get negative 2 is equal to x, so that's one x-intercept. Subtract 5 from both sides, so I get this side, x is equal to negative 5. So my x-intercepts are negative 2 and negative 5. Now, my line of symmetry I'm going to do next. My line of symmetry occurs halfway in between the two intercepts. Well, what number occurs halfway in between these two? So directly in the middle is negative 3.5. And then to find my maximum or minimum, I plug this in. I'm going to do that off screen. So I just plugged in that value to the factor form equation, got my y value.